Hello everyone, Forex here. Welcome to another Let's Make Arma 3 video where I make missions in Arma 3 editor and then talk about them and explain to you how they were made and what commands I've used in them so that you can see how missions are being made and maybe learn something from these videos. I don't know. I honestly have no idea why you are watching these videos. So anyway, this time we are not gonna be making a full mission. I have prepared something slightly different for you. And let me just explain to you why that is. It's because we have already made quite a lot of these videos. I have made, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 other missions before. And we have blasted through the basic mission types, I don't know, attack the base, steal a car, steal the documents, destroy someone, kill some valuable target. We have made these basic mission types that were easy to make, simple to produce, and I could show you something important about these mission types so that you don't have so many problems with them. And since then, we have gotten to this really strange land of advanced missions or semi-advanced missions where I'm supposed to show you something more than just the most basic stuff, like how to make, I don't know, how to make a briefing, how to make an intro transition to the mission. We've already made all of this multiple times. So I'm supposed to give you something more, something else than just this. Or at least I'm trying to. I'm not supposed to, but I'm really trying hard to make something different, to make something interesting for you, so that I don't just repeat myself in every single video and make the same stuff over and over. But the problem is with these advanced missions is that they are quite time consuming to make. It's not really all that easy. And while I'm willing to spend a lot of time in Arma and make stuff for you guys so that you can watch this stuff on YouTube, I'm not willing to spend like 3 weeks making a mission just so that I can make a half-an-hour video about it and 3 people see it and download it. That's really not worth my time. I could spend these 3 weeks making an actual mission that I then put on the Steam Workshop or play with some other people. So I'm not saying that I don't want to make amazing missions for you. I'm just saying that maybe it's a good idea for me to not make something terribly complicated, advanced and complex and ridiculously long to explain. Because first I'm gonna have to make 4-hour-long videos explaining how I got to that point, which nobody's gonna watch. And second, it's gonna take me a month just to prepare that mission, and that's gonna be a month of quite intense work. And while that's okay, with my schedule and my problems to get enough time to really make something in Arma at all, it's gonna take me 5 months or 6 months to make one single mission, and then I'm gonna be making like two videos per year, and that's really not a state that I want to get into. I'd rather show you something simple, something smaller, take just a few minutes to explain it, but it's gonna be interesting enough for you. But anyway, I've talked about this for a long time. Let's see the mission right here. It's already been made. It's already prepared, so we can have a look at the final state right now. And let me just tell you, it is a car paint shop. A custom car paint shop that I've made from scratch. It doesn't look amazing, but the options that you get are quite interesting, and let's have a look at them right now. So let's go into the game, and it all started when I wanted to paint this vehicle into some other colors, and I thought, why not just give the player the option to choose from like 10 or 20 colors, and it all started there, and I started thinking, how could I make something that would enable the player to select from as many colors as possible, and I ended up with pretty much all the colors, like almost all the 16 million colors or however big that final number is. So we get this dialogue when we get into the garage, and this is the color selection dialog. It's pretty simple. You select the main color here and then details of that shade in this big box. So let's go for blue colors, and I want to make dark blue. So I'm gonna go for a pretty dark shade of blue, a bit to the black over here, and accept. And I can go back and let me just ride away from this garage, get out and have a look. So it looks pretty similar to the car that we had before. I'm gonna be honest with you, going from blue to blue is not exactly the biggest change in the world, but we can go back to the shop right now and select a different color for ourselves. The door mechanic isn't perfect. That was not my main goal, but we can go for a green car right here. And you can see that the basic green, the most vibrant green shade, is pretty strong. It's not exactly what you want on a car, but luckily we can go for a slightly darker green. And I know that I'm picking all the dark colors, so let me just go for a green with a little bit of gray mixed in, so that it's not so strong. Get out and have a look. Amazing green car. So as you can see, this is pretty nice, because you can now get pretty much any color that you want. There aren't all the colors. There's just like 0.2% of the colors are missing because of the imperfections that I made during the creation of this script. But I think that that's enough colors for you to choose from, and it's sweet enough. I mean, if you remember GTA 5, was it? Or the GTA series in general, when you get into the car shops over there, you have a very limited options of color. Yes, you can have like 6 different materials, you can have matte colors, you can have chrome colors, but when it comes to the coloring itself, you have like 20 or 30 options. Here you have millions of options, and the materials could be changed as well, maybe. It's not as easy as the colors, but maybe someone could do it. So this is a nice foundation for something that could be a really sweet script for customizing your cars. And I imagine that on some multiplayer servers this could be quite handy. On some single player missions this could be pretty sweet as well. And of course it isn't limited to just cars. You can paint pretty much anything that can be painted or retextured in the game. So this is it. The mission doesn't have anything else, because this alone took me quite a while to figure out and complete. So this is what I've made for you, and of course it's gonna be available to you for free. You can do pretty much anything you want with it. And yeah, the mission is done. We can put our legs on the table and relax. So I'm not gonna waste your time explaining everything that this mission has, because the main script and the mechanic of picking colors it's not super complicated, but it's complicated enough to give me trouble explaining it coherently. And you know, I would be struggling here for an hour trying to explain to you how to change from RGB model to something else, and you know, I don't really want to do that. I would much rather take 10 or 15 minutes to explain to you the basic mechanics, the theory. And for those of you who are really interested in how this thing works, you can of course have a look at the source code. That's one thing. You can watch this video to the very end. I'm not gonna talk too much about the color picking mechanisms, but it's gonna appear here and there. And I've also prepared a simple documentation that explains the basic theory behind it, shows you the basic flow of the script, how the things are connected and how it works in theory, so that you can then see the individual steps in the code. And it's really not that long, it's like 10 pages or something. If you really are interested in seeing how this thing works, you can have a read, you can have a look at the code, and I'm willing to explain to you anything that you might be interested about. But in the main video, I'm not gonna waste everyone's time by talking about this script for 15 minutes. I instead want to show you all the features that this thing has and where you can find them later in the code, so that when you open the mission in the editor, you see what is being done and where it is being done in the scripts. So in the editor, it's really simple. We really have just the player, the cars. They are not marked or special in any way. They are just placed cars on the map. The player is connected to this trigger over here. The trigger is activated only by the player, because I don't really have anyone else in the mission and I don't need to activate the trigger for AI units. And whenever the player gets close to the shop, it opens and then closes. This is handled by the inShop equals true or false in the trigger, and the global variable inShop is then handled in another script that I have running in the background. And this script waits for inShop to be true to open the doors and waiting to false to, close the doors back again. So this is pretty much all that I have done in the editor. I mean, yes, there are also 2 walls inside the garage so that you don't see the emptiness of this whole building. You could add some clutter here and there, I didn't bother with that. And you also have a few game logic units like this for car pause, which is car position, so that when the car enters the garage, it is positioned straight on this position. And I also have this game logic, which is logic, which is here just for internal mechanisms in the scripts. So that's really all that is in the editor, and the main work is done in the scripts as always. And the scripts take care of the vehicle that enters the garage, how to paint it, what colors to offer, how to show the user the colors, and what to do afterwards. If the user selected to cancel the changes and now the vehicle needs to revert back to its original colors, that's all handled in the scripts. So I'm not gonna show you all of it, I'm gonna show you a section of it, but even still, you could get a hang of it and figure out the rest from the code, and potentially from the documentation as well if you are really interested. So let's get to the scripts. So if you think that this is really complex and needs like 30 scripts to run, you are mistaken. This is actually very simple, and the whole mission needs only 5 scripts, 2 of which are here just to handle the carriage itself. The mechanism itself for picking the color of a car is just 2 scripts. And the first one is init.sqf, and it's very simple, very short. I just define the basic colors upon opening the dialog for the first time. So I have red color, green color, and blue color. At the start, I open it in the default position of red being the dominant one with full value, and green and blue are just zeros. I also have a couple of global variables over here, like once opened, which is if the dialog is open or not. Once, it only happens once in the mission and gets me the positions of the dialog controls, and in shop to see if the player is in the shop or not. So these are really simple values, and they take care of everything else. I also call the script shop.sqf, and the shop is handling everything about the building itself. I need to find the building itself, lock some doors on the building so that the player can't get in so easily. I didn't lock all of them because I don't need it, but you can do that. I just put this example for you here so that you see how it's done. I create a light in the shop so that if you come around during the night, you can still see your vehicle while you are painting it. And then I have a loop that I run here, and this loop pretty much waits until the player gets close to the shop and then offers him all the selection, plays the little transition, creates a camera, creates the dialogue, lets the player paint the car as he sees fit. And when he's done, the script again waits for the player to leave the shop, closes the doors behind him, and comes back to the initial stage of waiting for him to come back. Of course, there are a lot of improvements that you can make to the script. I'm not gonna discuss that right now. And also, as you can see, the script is quite well commented, so you should have really no problems seeing what is done in these individual steps. So, for example, if I see stop car and play transition, so I see that I am stopping the car over here by the command set velocity, which I set to zeros. I also use the blackout transition so that the screen goes to black. I enable the camera. I position the car inside the garage. I start a dialogue. It's really simple stuff. And that's pretty much everything there is in the script. It's really simple stuff. So let's have a look at the camera itself. It's really, again, extremely simple camera stuff. I just create a camera, move it from one position to another, and then wait until the dialogue is over to terminate the camera, to destroy it and throw away. And that's everything there is in the camera script. So far we have had two extremely simple scripts, camera and init.sqf. They were short, they were extremely simple, straightforward, nothing to explain there. The shop script is, well, there is a bit more stuff in it, but it still isn't anything groundbreakingly difficult. It's still super simple stuff, just put together. And now we get to the interesting part, and that is the dialogue itself. That's a bit longer. I'm gonna have to make some slight changes to the text before I release it, as I can see these useless commands over here. But the dialogues, if you have seen the videos about the dialogues, I don't do anything that I wouldn't explain there. The one thing that I am using here that I think I didn't get to in the videos are safe zones and the UI grids. But that stuff is really difficult for me to explain, so you're gonna have to excuse me, read up on this on the community wiki or anywhere on the forums if you really want to. And that really is difficult for me to explain to you. But other than that, everything else that I'm using here is the stuff that you have seen before in the videos. If you have watched them, if not, maybe you should go back and watch them right now, because this is the whole reason why I'm making these videos. I make a bunch of tutorials and then try to make a mission that shows you how these tutorials can be connected to one another while making a mission, and how you can use this theoretical info that you get while watching the tutorials and use that in a mission that actually makes some sense. So these tutorials are extremely simple stuff. I just make a bunch of controls, and whenever I need, I just call a script, and the script handles everything for me. So the main script is change.sqf. I don't know why I gave it this strange name, but I'm not gonna change it right now. Maybe that's why. And this handles all the calculations. I pass some information to the script from the dialogue, and pretty much everything that I do here is do a bunch of calculations to get the right colors at the right moment, and I'm getting some values from the dialogue and then doing some calculations based on that and returning the final values back to the game by retexturing the car and showing the player what he has done and so on. It really isn't too difficult. It's just realizing how the things are supposed to go in order and making them fit. You can see that it doesn't even have 200 lines. You can read this in your spare time. The documentation has almost everything that you need, and if it still isn't enough, Here's the documentation. Let me just zoom out a little bit. You can see that there's a lot of images. I really tried to make it as simple for you as possible, and you don't even have to read all of it. You can just select something that interests you and see how it was done. And together with the code that I offer you, it really shouldn't be a problem. And as I said, I don't want to explain these calculations because that's quite tedious for me, and I don't think that you really want to watch this either. Instead, let me just tell you simply what features this thing has so that you can then look at them and see how they were done in the code. So first of all, I have a garage building. This building is able to open and close doors whenever you come around with a vehicle that is possible to be retextured. It also checks if the vehicle can be retextured at all, and if not, it will just tell you go away. You can see that the line is right here, the car paint shop is closed. So this happens whenever you don't have a vehicle or you don't have the right vehicle, and the door just won't open. And if you have the right vehicle, it will open the doors for you, it will play the transition, it will display to you the dialogue with all the options, and it will then wait until you leave and then close the doors again. There is a light that is constantly present in the shop as well, and it lights up the area just so that you can see the car at all times. If you come around at midnight, you will still be able to see the car because there is an artificial light inside the shop. The script also remembers the last texture that you have on your car. So if you reconsider your decision to repaint your car, you can always cancel the action and it will return the car to the original state that it was in when it was entering the shop. The shop also fixes your vehicle. That's just a side feature that I decided to add in. And if you want, you can have an extra button that does this. I thought that I would do it automatically, but it's really your choice to play with this thing. And of course, the color selection is pretty obvious. That's the main reason why this mission even exists. And the camera is pretty simple stuff that can be changed at any point in time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think that there's a big need to do anything else from my side. I think that you don't want me to explain all of this in greater detail because there really is no need to do that. I don't need to explain to you over and over again what the command set damage does. Let me just show you how it works if you cancel the color. So let me just select bright green, cancel. I'm back to the original shade of green that I was before. Also, this sign on the side shows me what color I have selected. This is the last selected color. It stays on the sign so that you don't forget. The door closes behind me. The car gets deleted if you forget it in the shop, because you could get in with another car and that would create a big problem. So the car gets deleted once you park there with another. I hope that you like this script. It really was a great joy to make. So hopefully you will find some use for it in your missions. And I don't think that I need to tell you anything else about it. If you really want to, feel free to ask me some questions about this, read the documentation, and if there is some big interest, I can make a proper video explaining everything step by step, but I don't think that anyone will watch this. Raise your hand if you are even watching this right now. It's been like 15 minutes or something, and I know that I would be falling asleep right now, so I don't think that we need to make this any longer. Let's skip the time and get here at night. And that concludes the whole video, and pretty much... Oh yeah, let's paint it white. The light is maybe a bit too strong, but on the other hand, maybe not. So yeah, that's it for this video. I mean, there's really not much more that I would want to tell you at this point. I think that most of the things are pretty straightforward, and 90% of this mission revolves around picking the color for an object, and that's really a topic that isn't worth explaining in the video. I think that if you are interested, you should read the documentation. If you are really interested, feel free to search how to change colors of objects in Arma. It's pretty simple stuff. You just select a color and that's it. And have a look at the code. The mission will be available in the video description down below, so you can download the mission, use it for whatever you want. I don't need anything from you for it. This mission is for your education, so that you understand how to make missions. Have a look at the code, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a nice day, guys. See you next time.